What up, world? You already know what it is. It's your favorite co-host, Podcast Pack. Back with another episode of Successful Habits. And as always, I'm here with the man with the plan, Coach D West. What's up with
What's
it, brother?
good?
How you doing today, man?
Man, I can't complain, man. What about you?
Nah, I can't call it, man. It's been a productive week to say the least. I mean, excited to drop our first podcast episode and see that it had a good impact on our followers on the different social media sites and things like that. Getting some good feedback from it. So, I'm blessed. We blessed, bro. You been
Yeah,
getting
for
some good
sure.
feedback about the episode yourself.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think it was a pretty good episode. I love the topic. I think that's a topic that a lot of people can use. I think that's a topic that could touch a lot of people. So if you haven't tapped into the episode, man, just give it a try.
For sure, most definitely. So, for those of y'all who did not watch our first episode, the topic of our first episode was more so, deep dive into like successful habits and successful being process driven and not results driven. So, our episode today is a little bit more geared towards the actual basketball, right? So it's actual. If you're a basketball junkie, you'll love this. You'll probably love this episode. And we're gonna talk a little bit about your journey as a player, from a player to a coach, and get into pretty much mind of the game kind of things. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's get into it, man. So
Let's do it.
you've been playing basketball your entire life. We've been playing
Yeah.
basketball our entire life, but you reached heights that I only wish that I could get to as far as basketball was concerned. You know what I mean? You played for a lot of winning programs in high school. You even finished your high school career in basketball country in Louisville, Kentucky. And then you went from there. You played some high level JUCO basketball, winning all these kinds of different awards and things like that. And then you also play some high level D1 basketball. So the first thing I want to talk about today is really, let's talk about your journey from a player to a coach. So, what was the most important skill that you think you needed to develop when you first made that transition from player to coach?
The biggest thing that I had to develop as a coach was just the relationship side of it. I think that's, if not the most important part, that's one of the most important parts of being a coach is the relationship side of it. Being a player, you're more so focused on individual, like what can you bring to the table, developing yourself. As a coach, you're looking at the overall scheme of things. The coach
For
is
sure.
there to set the culture. The coach is there to, develop everyone on the team and not
For
just a
sure.
specific player or so I think that was the biggest change for me, just being able to develop the relationships with the players, and because I think that's important for me growing up, the my favorite, well, growing up, the best times of my career where I played the best basketball, I had a very strong relationship with the coach. So I think, that's a factor that a lot of people may overlook, but I think it's a very important factor because the better the relationship, the harder the coach can coach you, the harder the coach can
For
push
sure.
you. So the better the relationship, the more the player, he allows himself to be coached a little bit more.
Definitely, definitely. So when you're talking about building those relationships, I mean, is there a certain way that you like to go about that?
I just put myself in the player's shoes most of the time. I try to see things from both perspectives as a player and as a coach. I try my best to put myself in their shoes for most of the time, but I think it's a balance. I think it's a balance between building a healthy relationship and getting them to buy into a culture. But I think it's a healthy balance. Building that relationship just allows you to coach a player so much harder. So I will first get to know the player. That's first and foremost. Everyone plays basketball for a different reason, whether they
Right.
be, some people come from lower income families. Some people just love the game. Everybody has a different reason of why they play basketball. So the first thing that I like to do, and I do this with my line brothers, is why do you play basketball? What's your why?
Right.
Like, why do you play? Because this is the thing that's gonna push you when days get hard. This is the thing that if you need some extra motivation, this is what I'm gonna say to you. If you're going through something, a rough patch in the game, hey, you told me you wanted to be here, so this is what it takes to be here. Like that is something that we both know about you, and we have that in common. that specific thing that you want out of this.
For
And
sure.
I can use it to a coach's advantage.
For sure.
Like, so a lot of kids, they say, I want to play college basketball, then I want to go on to be a professional athlete. That's pretty much every basketball player's dream.
For sure.
So my thing to a player is, if they're having a tough conditioning day, if they're having a tough practice, it's, hey man, you told me you wanted to be a collegiate athlete. You told me you wanted to be a professional athlete. Are you having the day that a professional athlete would have? Are you having the day that, if your dream college was in here right now, would he recruit you? Would he offer
Right.
you right now? Like, just having that, I think that goes a long way with players. And as you get to know players a little more, the relationship gets better. Like, they allow you to coach them more.
For sure. You kind of said something that I want to circle back to real quick. Finding your why. I think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people take that part serious enough. So not just with basketball, but if you're doing anything in life in general, it's important to find your why and your purpose, because your purpose needs to be strong enough. Your why needs to be strong enough for, like you said, it's gonna be days where you feel like you ain't got nothing left in the tank. If your why ain't strong enough, you're not getting up. You're not getting up out
Right.
there. It's gonna be a no brainer. I ain't going to work
Yeah.
today. It's gonna be a no brainer. I'm making up an excuse to skip workouts today. You know what I mean? If your why is not strong enough, so I think that's very, very important. I think the key word behind that is conviction. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
got to you got to have conviction when it comes to chasing your dreams, especially if you're trying to go pro. I mean, it's what, handful of NBA players in the world. You know what I mean? It's only a handful of spots on every single team.
Yeah.
I think, like you say, that why definitely needs to be strong enough, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a coach, it's easy to get caught up in the wins and losses, right? Would you say, is that you? And if not, what's your motivation? What do you think? What is a successful season to you?
Me personally, and I know, coaches could say, well, he's young, whatever the case may be, but I'm not a wins and losses guy. I'm more so, I want my players to go on and be successful. Like, whatever that looks like, whether they leave me and go to college, whether they leave me and they go be leaders. Like, you really can't judge a successful season until years down the line when those players leave you, and you can look back and say, okay, now I got 6 players in Division I college. I got 6 players as leaders in society. That's a successful season to me. Like, more of the story, wins and losses, they come and go. Like, yes, every coach wants to win. I do understand that. Of course, when I go into that night, I expect to win. I prepare to win. That is true. But do I think that's the most important thing? No, I don't. I think teaching them how to be a team, teaching them how to
Right.
have teamwork, teaching them how to handle adversity, teaching them how to get back up after you fall, teaching them how to hold each other accountable,
Right.
hold their self accountable. I think that's more important because basketball, this game, it teaches you life lessons in the
For sure.
process of, you getting ready to go on to the next level. It teaches you lessons that you really can't learn unless you play the sport.
For sure.
So I just think that I like I'm not a wins and losses coach. Do I want to win? Absolutely, I want to win, and we will prepare to win. We will work to win. But do I think winning is the most important thing for me? I don't. Honestly, I think it is letting the kids prosper.
For
Like,
sure.
I want the kids to be the best version of themselves when they leave me.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's super duper important. I also want to circle back to something you said in this part too. You said things like accountability and having creating a successful culture for your team. So, what are some characteristics about winning culture?
A winning culture. What is a winning culture? A winning culture is a team. In my eyes, a winning culture is a disciplined team. First off, setting a culture for a team. Culture is basically the standard, right?
Right.
So when you go into a team, if I have 4 seniors, the standard is for those seniors to lead if I have a productive culture because they're the
Right.
older. I had them 4 years. So in the culture, yeah, I'm just making up my own scenario. So if I had 4 seniors, I would expect these seniors to set the standard every single day. So as a freshman coming in, who doesn't know anything about the program, these seniors will have a culture in place to where these freshmen will fall in line.
Yeah.
And that goes to things like being on time. It goes to things like touching lines and the line drills. Seniors won't let them cheat. That's why you see the best teams like March Madness, they go on to win the Natty. Like they're senior led
Led by
teams most of the
seniors, yeah.
time.
Led by
Yeah.
seniors,
Like
yeah.
if talent won the games, like when it mattered, like playoffs and championship, well, Kentucky when they had
Kentucky
Cal, they
when
would
they
have
had
won
John
every
Wall
year.
and them
They was
boys would have
getting they
won,
was
yeah.
get McDonald's All Americans every
Yeah, for
year.
sure.
But talent wins games, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it's about leadership. It's about, it's about the senior led teams that go on and do big things. So when you talk about culture, I think the first thing that sets in stone are who are my veterans on this team? Who has
Hmm.
been with me? They know the culture, they know the standards. So the culture would be, what do we do every day? We are disciplined every single day. We are on time for everything.
For sure.
We are touching every line in the line
Yeah.
drill. We are enthusiastic about working out. We are communicating in practice. These are the standard. Like these are the things that I don't have to talk about pregame because it's the culture. I don't have
For
to go
sure.
out and tell you to play hard. It's a culture. It's a standard. The least you gonna do is play hard.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's the standard. Now, if you go into a situation where you don't have seniors and you got our freshmen. Now, what is your standard? What is your culture? Like, what are you building as a coach? And I think that the good coaches, they adjusted this and they able to maintain this because every once in a while you may get a freshman group who is mature enough to build a culture and sustain a culture.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, the coach has to do it. So if the coach is building this culture, I think the best teams are senior led. I think the best teams are teams that have been with this coach 2, 3 years and they know what the culture, they know what the coach is looking for. Every coach has a different culture. Every coach has a different value system,
For
right?
sure. For sure.
So what do you value as a coach? Do you value kids being on time? Do you value you like whatever you value as a coach, that is your culture, right? For
Definitely.
me, that culture would look like being on time, being disciplined. And people think, being disciplined means never get in trouble, this type of stuff. No, being disciplined means if we're running the set, you don't break the set. You run the set all the way through and you
Right.
see what we got. Being
Right.
disciplined is we practice two-hand closeouts on jump shot shooters. Now in the game, you jump and try to block a jump shot,
For sure.
right? So being disciplined is closing out the right way. Being disciplined is if we're in a 1-2-1-1 press, are you cutting off the middle, right?
For sure.
That's being disciplined. Being disciplined is are you doing what we practice every single day,
Hmm.
right? Being disciplined is while everyone else in the class is giving the teacher a hard time, are you sitting at the front of the class just focused on what you're supposed to do because it's the culture,
For sure.
right? You're disciplined, like so those are the things that matter to me, especially when it comes to building a good culture.
Yeah, and you have a very interesting perspective on this because, you know, yeah, you guys have a pretty good veteran team over there at the school that you coach at, but your perspective is unique because you also have the opportunity to get a fresh batch of ninth graders on your hands every year, right? And so, it's important that, like you say, you have a clear vision and purpose of what your morals and values are, so that it's easy for them to grasp the concept and work on the things that you need them to work on in order to buy into the culture. I think that's an important part of it too, right? The buy-in.
The
You can have,
buy-in.
yeah, because you can have you can preach all day long, close out, good closeouts and run the set all the way through. But if your team don't understand the why behind these things and they don't appreciate, the purpose that you guys are going through these drills, they don't have that conviction, it's gonna be tough to get buy-in from them. And without the buy-in, the
Yeah.
rest of it mean nothing. So talk about the buy-in. What are some things you do for your team to get the buy-in?
Well, first off, I think to piggyback on something I said earlier, I think the buy-in goes into relationships,
For
right?
sure.
I
And
think
I want
I
to make
think
something
my
clear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I want to make something clear. The things that we're talking about right now, we're putting them into a basketball framing right now. But these things that we're talking about right now apply to any sort of leadership. If you
anything.
call yourself a leader of any of any sort, the things that that Coach West is about to talk about right now is you can apply that to any sort of leadership position because no matter what, if you leading a group of people to a specific purpose, if they not bought in, if y'all are in a boat and everybody rowing in different directions, the journey to success is gonna take so long, bro. So I'm sorry, I mean to cut y'all. Go ahead and continue to explain how you get your people to buy in.
The buy-in is the most important part. There's you will not have a successful year, season, career if you cannot get the players to buy in. That's the
For
most
sure.
important part. The players have to feel like that you are for them. So my biggest thing, it ties back into relationships. How strong is your relationship? That's why when I first get my group, it's not about what can you do for me. It's more so, hey, who are you? Let me get to know you. You know,
Yeah,
what do you like? Why do you play basketball? What do you value? Like I want to get to know you as a person. Because
for
the more
sure.
I get to know you as a person, then I start to understand how you think. Then I
Yeah,
start to understand why you play this game. Then I start to understand what you're getting out of this. Because the hardest players to coach are the players who are playing just to play.
for sure.
Like they don't have a why, they don't have nothing to push them, nothing to motivate them. They just
Yeah,
play,
I
you
agree
know,
with you
because
100%.
and it's harder to motivate them because they don't want nothing out of it. But I just think the buy-in is the most important thing to, building a successful culture. Outside of you have to have a good group of guys like outside the floor. Like they have to be good, genuine people. You
Yeah,
have to create that culture for them to be good, genuine people.
definitely.
Like, like good, genuine teammates. And you got to create a culture of happy playing for each other. They like playing. They
Yeah,
like playing for you. So I think building a relationship with them, first off, getting to know them, like
yeah,
getting
for
to know
sure.
them as a person. So we had a situation at the school, and it was just like, so this one specific kid, everybody looked at him, he was pretty good, but people felt like he was complacent.
Yeah,
So I took it upon myself to actually get to know the kid. So they people assume that this kid was motivated by, hey, this kid is doing that, that's supposed to be you, you're better than him. Like people assume that this kid was motivated by other people's rewards or accolades or
right, right.
success,
Yeah,
predicating because he was good. So they saying, hey, you better than him, you supposed to have this. But instead of me taking that approach, I just took a step back and was like, hey, well, I'm gonna get to know the kid. I'm not gonna assume that this is what motivates him.
for sure.
So as I got to know the kid, that's when I started to understand, okay, he's not motivated by someone else saying that someone else is better than him. He's motivated by X, Y, Z. And
For
what that
sure.
did for our relationship, so now our relationship is like different because of this
Right.
situation. Now he's opened up to me. He's talking. Like now our relationship is different because instead of assuming, I took the time out to get to know the kid.
Facts.
And oftentimes, I think sometimes coaches lose sight of that. They lose sight of them kids at the end of the day.
Hmm.
You have to get to know them first.
Yeah,
And just like college athletes, pros, at the end of the day, they're still athletes. They're still kids. Yes, you want them to win games for you, but I think the most important thing is first, just get to know them. Like,
yeah.
get to know them and let them, you know, get to know them, and they will allow you to coach them and they will allow you to build a relationship with them.
So I want to kind of add a little bit to that. And like I said, this also applies to my current situation when it comes to me at work because I'm a people leader myself. I think that some of the best leaders, whether it be leaders in work or leaders in the community or coaches, some of the best leaders have a servant mentality. You know what I mean? So kind of like what you were saying versus, when you come to me, my main concern, especially at the beginning of our relationship, is not about what can you do for me, is what can I do for you to get you going. You know what I mean? What is it that you need from me to be successful? You know what I mean? So like kind of like in your story, you know what I mean? Everybody think that the kid need more competition to be successful, but that might not be his push to start button. You know what I'm saying? His push to start button might be, oh, your mama's a single parent. You know what I'm saying? She's struggling right now to take care of you. If that's your push to start button, then I'm not finna be in the middle of the game, be telling you that boy killing you right now. No,
Yeah.
that's not your push to start button. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that having that servant mentality is super duper important when it comes to actually being a really, really good leader,
Yeah.
right? So you know, some other things that also attribute or contribute, I'm sorry, contribute to a winning culture, in my opinion, are things like, you mentioned discipline. You also mentioned accountability. So I definitely agree with you. Accountability for sure, for sure. With accountability also comes leading by example. You know what I mean? So for a kid who's out there in the ninth grade right now watching the podcast and he's trying to figure out, how to this veteran senior that you're describing, you know what I mean, that makes the engine run, or for somebody who is on somebody's team right now at work and they're trying to figure out how do they get up to the next level. The best thing, in my opinion, one of the best things you can do is lead by example. So for example, I can't hold nobody accountable, especially when it comes to accountability. I can't hold nobody accountable for showing up late to practice or to work if I'm
If
walking
I'm
in
late.
after them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
walking in after
Yeah.
you. How you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. For sure.
immediately if you try to come down on somebody or chastise somebody or criticize somebody for these things, the first thing that come to mind is, well, you do it,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So
You
it's like
got to
kind of
come
like
to work every day if you're
exactly,
gonna hold someone accountable.
exactly. So what are some things that you make sure that you do, that you put on good examples for your team, for your kids,
I be the change I wish to see
for sure,
every day. Like, and anybody who knows me can tell you, first off, like I try to make sure I'm always in a positive mood. Like, cause whatever happened to me outside of me coming to practice or outside of me walking the hall, like that had nothing to do with the kids.
for
They
sure,
That is the outside life. So I try my best, and life happen to everybody. But I
definitely,
try my best not to bring that to them because it's not their fault. And honestly, probably don't even know this, but they're most of the time, sometimes, oftentimes, they're the bright part of my day. Like when
mm-hmm,
I see them and how they look up to me and how they, respond to me, like that makes my day. Like that makes me feel like I'm having an impact on them, and that makes
yeah,
me, want to go harder as far as coaching, as far as working, as far as training. It makes me go harder knowing that I can impact someone like this. So, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, but
for
I
sure,
try my best to be a positive example for them each and
for
every
sure,
day. Like I be myself. I'm myself all the time. I
mm-hmm.
try my best to, I'm, and it goes to something as detailed as every time I walk by somebody, whether they be a custodian, a teacher, a principal, a coach, I'm always good morning. Hey, how you doing? How was your weekend?
100%,
How was your
hundred
day?
percent,
I'm always talking to them, because you
for
never
sure.
know how they
You
can
don't know. You
impact
don't know
someone's
who
day.
need. You don't know who needed to hear. Hey, how
Yeah,
you doing? You
yeah,
don't need to know who. You don't
yeah.
never know who needed to hear that. You
For
know what I
sure.
mean?
But like when kids, when people see you do that, not even just kids, I'm just say people, when people
Yeah,
see
for
you
sure,
do that, you never know how they can impact someone. You know what I'm
for
saying?
sure,
Like in a positive way. Like you never like, hey man, I see like he wasn't even having a good day and he still, took the time
for
out to
sure,
speak or like I'm regardless of the position in the school and the coaching, regardless of I treat everyone the same. I treat you with respect, like I
yeah,
talk to you, I give you conversation, and I expect the same thing from the players. Like I just want the players and for them to see me be a positive example. I think a lot of players may need that. Now some
for
players
sure.
they have that at home. Some players, they see positivity everywhere they go. But
Hmm.
oftentimes some players don't. So, I just try to be the best example I can be for them.
For sure. I think some other things that I think contribute to that successful mindset, especially when it comes to accountability, holding yourself accountable when, because like you said, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? We're gonna all make mistakes. I think it's important that as the leader of a team, as the leader of an organization, as the leader of a group or anything like that, as any kind of leader, it's important to that the people below you know that you're not above, you're not above making mistakes and you willing to admit when you made a mistake. You know what I mean? So I think that that's important when it comes to building winning coaches as well. So as far as like in your coaching journey, I know that you're a basketball junkie, a real mind of the game. You
Hmm.
watch basketball differently than myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people watch it. You know what I mean? You have a real different perspective on the game. Who are some coaches that you like to watch, and what are some things that you've taken from these people?
Man, it's a ton of good coaches out there. Um, I watch coaches like you can learn stuff from coaches that's not even in your sport. Like I watch Nick Saban interviews and just to hear him talk. And if you don't know Nick Saban, he was the head coach at Alabama, Hall of Fame coach, led on Alabama team, built a winning culture there, so on and so forth. His legacy speaks for itself. But like you'd be surprised by how much you can learn from a coach. It's not even in sport. Like I watch coaches from all different type of sports just to hear them talk about how they build culture, how did they build a win dynasty, how did they win three in a row, three championships in a row. I watch Steve Kerr. I watch Kevin Sampson from Houston. Shout out Houston. I watch like it's tons of different coaches that will give you their philosophies and different gems about the game, and it's just so much you can learn from them, especially like the really good ones. Like they
Hmm.
were, man, it's crazy how much evolution in game has changed from early 2000s and now.
For
Like, and
sure,
not even just yes, the skill level is different too, but even like the coaching philosophies are different.
for
Like
sure,
coaches, how they used to coaches coach different from how they coached early in the 1900s and 2000s
100%.
and stuff like that. Like the coaching is different. Like
Did you just say?
everything.
Did you just say in the 1900s?
Hey, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah, like
sure,
the
for sure,
90s,
for sure, for sure.
like the 90s and the like
The
coaching
early
is different.
2000s,
Like
yeah, I got you.
yeah, like the coaching is different. So it's just like the game is changing, and if you don't change with it, then eventually it'll pass you by.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the most successful coaches can adapt with the game, can adapt
Yeah,
to the game and adjust. Because, like you said, especially with basketball, man, the evolution of basketball, it happens so fast, man. It
so
seemed like
fast.
it seemed like from one season to another, the game went from dump the ball in the post to shoot as many threes as you can literally in one season. And it's
But
it's fun it's funny we talking about that because you got this Golden State jersey on. And
yeah,
honestly, I mean, we all know who changed the game. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
they changed the game for sure.
That Golden State Warriors concept of just, shoot the other team out the jam, I think that at first everybody was like, this is ruining basketball, this is ruining basketball. But when you actually look and when you actually watch the Warriors play or you watch that what 2016, 2017, no, that might have been a little bit sooner, 2014, 2015 Spurs team play, that Spurs team that gave the Heat the run for their money. When you watch them play, it's beautiful basketball. You know what I mean? Like
Beautiful.
it's the ball's moving. You don't know who taking this shot. It's beautiful basketball, man.
Beautiful. And it's funny that you bring up the Warriors because like I don't so if you don't know me, I was a shooter, right? So the game back when we was growing up, if you take a 3-point shot in transition, man, the coach is losing his
Go get
mind.
him. Go get him.
The coach is losing his
Hmm.
mind. But now it's the best time to get a three. And I don't think every coach has evolved to this mindset. I don't think. And like whether they be good or bad, whatever fits your coaching philosophy, hey, that's great. But I think you have to evolve with the game. Like my team right now, right? So they're ninth grade. So just the other day, I love shooters because I was a shooter.
For sure.
I know what to run to get shooters open. So I gravitate towards shooters. Like I just love shooters. I love running stuff for shooters. So we're running the set, and he's coming off so much action. Like he's never really came off this much action because you gotta remember he's come from middle school, so
Yeah.
he's just catching and shooting, spotting up. But
Hmm.
now we setting the hammer screen. Now we empty side the weak side help, and now we setting the flip screen over the top. Now he's shooting and if you ever shot the basketball, you have certain steps you have to take after you get a flush screen, right? So if you're right-handed, it's gonna be right left into the flush screen, or if you're left-handed, it's gonna be left right into the flush screen. So now he has to work on his footwork, his ball placement, right? So now we're setting the flush screen. The flare is not there. Now he's dumping off a stag on the weak side, and he's got to get his steps right,
Right.
right? So now I'm teaching him how to be a shooter, right?
Right.
But basketball has changed so much because I think if you don't shoot the three, you almost at a disadvantage.
For sure.
Like
So
it's
let me ask you this:
almost
Are you a fan of what they call analytics basketball? Is it even really, is it analytics basketball, or is it basketball that makes sense?
I'm gonna say it's basketball that makes sense because this is why I say this. Like people bash that Celtics team for shooting so many threes, but they recruited that team to shoot
For
threes.
sure. For sure.
Like that team is built specifically to shoot threes. Now, do I think a team that doesn't have the personnel to shoot that many threes? Of course not. You should
For
not.
sure.
It doesn't matter what analytics say. If you don't have the personnel to do so, you shouldn't do it. But a team that has the personnel, why wouldn't you do it?
For
That
sure.
that 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 is the game. Of course, you will have bad games, and it's gonna be like, oh man, that don't work. You gotta do
Right.
this, you gotta do that. But what happens when it does work? And they showed you what happened when it does work,
Right.
right? They look like the best team in basketball when it does
Most
work.
definitely.
Like,
Most
you
definitely.
know what I mean? Like, I feel like you have to grow with the game. Like, you have to evolve with the game. You don't necessarily have to shoot threes all the time, but
Uh-huh.
it has to. In order to be a good guard in this generation, you have to be able to shoot. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line of it.
Definitely.
You have to be able to shoot wide open shots.
Definitely.
If you're
I
not
think I
able to
think I
shoot,
think in order to be on the floor,
to be on the
in
floor,
order to be on
period,
the floor, it don't matter
you
if
have to
you're a
be
good
able to
guard or
shoot.
whatever. Yeah, it don't matter if you're a guard or whatever. In order to be on the floor, you got to be able to space it.
The only way that you do not have to be able to shoot, you have to be an elite rim protector at the
Hmm.
five. You have to be an elite rebounder, rim protector type of guy. You have to be able to know the screen and roll. Like I was
Yeah.
talking to one of my big men today, and I'm like, have you ever seen Draymond Green play? You know, like, cause he had it, and you know, like again, I'm coaching ninth grade, so it's like they don't understand everything about basketball, but that's what I'm teaching
Right.
them, right? I don't want them to leave me and not know ball. I want
Right.
them to learn as much as they can with me, so when they go on, they're able to, you know, advance their
For
career,
sure.
play as long as they can.
Right.
But so he's a five man, right? But he's mobile. He's like he can
Hmm.
move, he can think the game,
Yeah.
he's athletic. So he has a bad habit of sitting in the post waiting on the post pass,
Yeah.
right? Which is fine at a certain point. But I'm like, if we're running the flow of the offense, so oftentimes, if you haven't seen my offense, I like to fast pace. No one's holding the ball, dominating the ball. We're moving, we're cutting, we sitting flash screens, status screens, we're coming off inside curls. We're doing a lot of stuff that just keep the defense occupied, right?
For sure.
So oftentimes he had the bad habit of just sitting in the post, sitting on the block, waiting for the ball. But I'm like, have you ever seen? So we have a kid on our team that can flat out shoot the ball, flat
Yeah.
out shoot it. So, and then we have a guard on our team. He's really good at coming off screens. He has really
Hmm.
good pace at his age. He has elite pace at his
For
age, to be
sure.
honest with you. So he has a bad habit of sitting in the post. So I'm telling him, have you ever seen Draymond Green play? And you know, of course, when people see Draymond Green, when people hear the name Draymond Green, they say, you know what?
Draymond Green.
Yeah, Draymond. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Fact.
But
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
really pay attention to the detail of basketball, how successful will Curry be without Draymond? That's a question. That question, not because of Steph Curry is not great, because he's one of
Right.
my favorite players to ever play, but Draymond made the game so much easier for him.
For
If you're
sure.
not gonna come up on this on me to guard me at the 3 point line, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn around
Dribble
and go to a
handoff.
dribble
Yeah.
handoff.
Yeah.
All right. Now your man chasing the best shooter in the world off the dribble handoff. You telling him from behind, what you think gonna happen? He gonna knock the shot
Hmm.
down. Or he gonna get it, he gonna snake it and get into his mid-range shot. You know, he got so many options. So I'm telling him, instead of sitting there, let's flow into the offense. Right?
For sure.
So you on the post, you gonna get it out the first post, rotate the ball, boom. I'm popping it to the free throw line. I can catch it at the free throw line, boom. I'm going inside
Hmm.
DHO with the bottom man. Right now he coming up. I can roll to the goal post for a second. Now I'm got it. I'm right back up. Right?
Yeah.
Like you are a mobile big. You have to be mobile. Don't limit yourself to just posting up. Like, and that's what I mean by the evolution of basketball. If you
For
watch
sure.
the best offenses like the Pacers, Creighton, St. John, Like, what are their big men doing? If you go back and watch film, they're moving. They're going into
Mhm.
DHO, rip screens, they're sitting high
Mhm.
ball screens, short stopping. They can turn around so if you trap the ball screen, they can turn around and be a playmaker out of
And
it. They
playmate.
stop
Yep.
short, turn around and be a playmaker. Now they're playing 4-on-3 on the backside.
Yep.
There's different stuff you have to be. That's the evolution of big man now. Like you have to be able to mobile. You have to be able to think the game. You got to be able
For
to
sure.
check the rim on the other side. If you can't shoot, you have to be able to do these things.
Definitely. I think some of the greatest big men in the league right now, obviously, Joker's a really, really good example of this, is, he got a dynamic PG in the form of Jamal Murray, but, some of the best big men in the league right now are also secondary playmakers. Like you said, you got to be able to read the game. You got to be able to know when it's time to stop short and shoot the floater. Everything ain't got to be highlight at the rim. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. My
I
next
think
question
that,
for
that
you.
that comes with watching the film, though. Not to cut you off, but
No, no,
that
for
comes from
sure.
watching the film. Like so, Joker and other bigs, they're so good at like when they can catch it out the screen and roll and turn around and be a playmaker or a shortstop and shoot the floater. It's because they watch a lot of film. Like they know where the defense gonna be. They know
For sure.
where the help side gonna be. They know where the tag man who's taking the role. They know where he's gonna be, so they're able to do that. So I think a lot of kids these days they don't know how to watch film. They watch highlights rather than breaking the detailed game down of what is specifically they are doing. And that's one thing I enjoy. I enjoy breaking the game down to athletes. Like, look, he's doing this because of this. Look at this.
For
Look
sure.
at this weak side roll. Look what this tag man is doing. Like, if we're playing this team and they tag like this, you need to hit the shortstop on the backside. You know what I mean? Like
For sure.
things like that is what separates good teams. Like, I think you have to show players how to break down film, what it is they are doing, because film is essential. Like you have to watch film. It's essential. You have
For
to
sure.
watch. You have to watch it the right way of not look for highlights,
Mhm.
not look for plays you can shoot. Like you have to watch film the right way because
For
you
sure.
need it to grow your game.
For sure. For sure. And while we're on the subject of watching film, obviously as a coach, you gonna watch a ton of film, right? Especially when you scouting, for your next matchups in the future and things like that. Um, Tell me about your toughest scout, bro, and why was it so tough?
My toughest scout came from a team that had a super good point guard. I think if the point guard is the best player on your team, you have a pretty good chance of being a pretty good team that year. If your point guard is the leader, he's the best player on the team, you probably 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a pretty good point guard, probably the best point guard in the state, if not definitely top 2 or 3. And they had a good complementary piece to their point guard,
For
and
sure.
which is why I talk about the evolution of basketball. He was a 6'8" kind of stretch post kind of
Mm-hmm.
player, right? So now he's bringing your big out of the paint and they're running so much action to get this point guard down here. And if you help, he can consistently knock down the shot,
For sure.
right? So now the offense, everything that happens in the offense is oriented outside of the three. So
For
now
sure.
when you guard them, you have to guard them a little different than you would a team that plays two post players or plays 5 guards. Or you have to
Mm-hmm.
guard this team different. First of all, you need a big man that can hang with this big man on the board, but also be mobile enough to contest him if he shoots a three. You
Yeah,
know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? So it was a challenge to scout, but I enjoyed the challenge because like I'm a sucker for good basketball. I'm a basketball junkie.
Most
Yes, I'm
definitely.
trying to I'm trying to win the game, of course. Like I'm on one side, I'm trying to win it. But at the same time, I respect good basketball. So if I see someone playing good basketball, if I see a coach is coaching good basketball, I tip my
Yeah.
cap. I'm basketball savant. This is what I do. If I see good basketball, hey, that's just good basketball, regardless of what side I'm on. Like that's just how I am. So I think that was a challenging scout for me, but I enjoyed it. And that offense was really good. Shout out to that coach.
What would you say, if anything, did you grow it off from that? Was there anything that you gained from that experience trying to win that chess match against that coach?
Oh yeah, for sure. I always like look to add stuff like just like as a player. Like if you're a player and you see other good players. the great players, they add stuff to the game. What did
For
Kobe do?
sure.
He added some stuff from Jordan game. You know what I mean? Like you always look to add. Okay, what does this player do that's effective? Okay, I can add that.
For
Okay,
sure.
Jalen Brunson plays out 2 feet in the paint. I can add that to my game. You know what I mean? Like it's always stuff that good great players can do, and you can add to your game to be even better. And it's the same way for coaching. Like if a coach runs good stuff, he runs good sets, he has a good philosophy to his stuff. Then if good coaches, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna say, okay, that's something good. I need to look at that. Or they'll pick this Coach Bryant, hey man, hit me up, man. Let's talk basketball. Like
For
those
sure.
what are the good coaches do. Just like it's just adding to your game, just like as a player. It's the same thing. So and I'm always like surrounded by basketball. I'm always watching film. Oftentimes I should be with family. I'm watching film. I should
Yeah,
be
definitely.
doing this. I should be in the moment here, but I'm watching film. Like, cause I just
A
love the
real, a
game. I
real, a
love
real
the
junkie,
basketball.
a real
A
basketball
real
junkie.
junkie. Like I
Yeah.
remember being out to eat. I think I want to say it was before the game. Don't quote me though. But I'm out to eat. I'm eating my food with the game, sitting up on the
For sure.
drink. You know, I'm just watching the game. Like, man, they playing some good basketball. We need to be ready. Like, you
No, I ain't
know,
gonna
like
lie. I'll quick story. So I mean, I remember one time I pulled up on you one time just to come see about you or whatever, and I walk in and I always knew you love basketball, but honestly, this when I seen this gave me a whole different respect for you and how you watch basketball. So I walk in, you got a game on your phone, a different game on your iPad, a different game on your laptop. This was probably during March Madness. It had to be because it
yeah.
was like 20 games on. So you got a game on your phone, a game on your iPad, a game on your laptop, and a game on the TV. I'm like, man, what's happening? How you even keeping up with everything that's going on right now? But that says a lot about, how much you love the game and how much time you put into it, how much thought you put into it. You know what I mean? So my question for you is this: when it's time for you to prep for your game, take me through your process. Like, what is it like for you as a coach?
So sometimes the preparation is different. And at the high school level, we get around 2 or 3 days to prepare for a team. Oftentimes, if we're lucky, sometimes we get back to back games. But most of the time, you get around 2 or 3 days. So what I like to do is I like to watch this team. Well, if I have enough time, I will watch games up until this point, right?
For
I will
sure,
watch them play other good teams. But I'm on a strict time frame and I have to be done by a certain time. Maybe it's just a one night in between,
for
or
sure.
maybe we just drove 2 hours to play a team and now we headed back and we got this team. Not this is Tuesday, we got this team Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I will go ahead and start film. It's three particular games that I try to watch. I tried to watch a game where it was in a dog fight, quote unquote. If you know what a
Yep.
dog fight is, it's like a close game, like like a nail biter. Like they
Yep.
went wire to wire, team played hard. I would look for a team that they blew out, to see what they did in that game, and I would look for a team, if possible, a team that kind of got the best of them by maybe a blowout or a team plus points. Those are the three games that I would try to target if I'm on a strict time frame.
Okay. So why those 3 games specifically?
I would target a blowout win specifically because I would like to see what they did differently in this game. Were they just hitting more threes? Were they
Right.
just shooting the ball exceptionally well? You have some games where the other team just didn't bring it, where they running a specific press for this team.
Mhm.
Like I want to see what they did differently in this game. On the game that they got blew out, I want to see did they not bring it this night? What did the other team do to counter what this team did
Right.
good? I want to see the difference in the two. In the game that it was a nail biter, oftentimes as humans, we are creatures of habit. Because
Yep.
of that, we only in situations we only run stuff that we trust if it's a close game, right? So oftentimes as a coach, if I'm in a close game or nail biter, I'm gonna run stuff that I'm comfortable and I know that this team knows. Like my players know. So I like to see what they run at the end of the game, especially the final 2 minutes, tie game. They need a bucket. What's your
For
go-to
sure.
set? What you like to run?
Yeah.
Like I want to just feel you out as a coach. Are you down two? Are you starting to press in the fourth quarter? Are you trapping in the fourth quarter. Like, what are you doing? I want to see because those are the habits that they tend to repeat themselves.
Most definitely, yeah. Especially in those nail biters, like you said, coach gonna always go with what they know for sure gonna work, or at least what has proven to work in the past. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, definitely, that's a good perspective on what it's like to watch film. Especially from a coach's perspective. You know what I mean? These are things that many people might not take into consideration. That in close games, teams run the go-to sets, or we're looking at. I want to see a team get this particular team get blown out because if they got blown out because they can't guard the pick and roll, well then
Right.
when we match up, I'm finna pick and roll you to death,
Right.
right? Or if let's say for example, we watch them blow a team out, and the reason they blew the team out is because they got really really good post defenders, and the other team just kept trying to attack the rim, get the ball in the post. Well, then I know that when it's time for us to match up with them, I probably need to stay out the paint,
Yeah.
stop short, shoot some middies, get some floaters, knock
Exactly.
some threes down, kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's very, very insightful when it comes to preparing yourself and how to watch film, how to go about preparing yourself for games in the future for sure. So, as a coach yourself, in your opinion, is there a position or a role on a team that is more important than the rest and why?
I think I think the point guard spot is is arguably the most important spot on the floor. And you can make arguments for other positions, but my vote would be the point guard spot because it's just so much that goes into their role, especially what I would look for in my point guard, right? I would like point guards are oftentimes the leaders. Point guards are oftentimes the extension of the coach that's on the
For sure.
floor. Like they would be an extension of me, right?
For sure.
Point guards are oftentimes the ones who have to set the tone as far as guarding the basketball of your team who likes to guard 94 feet. Well, your point guard is the one that's up there that's setting the tone for that. You
Most
know what I
definitely.
mean? Um, so I would say point guard because point guards, I know we are moving into a positionless basketball, but I don't think we're there yet. I do think great point guards are still valuable. Shout out to Halliburton. Shout out to Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Shout out to, people like that. I do think the point guard position is still valuable. I don't think we're all the way in position with basketball yet. I think the really good point guards are able to dictate the flow of the game, dictate the
For
pace.
sure.
It's some stuff that good point guards have that you can't really teach. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like they're able to control the game. And
Yeah.
if you don't have a point guard, it's harder to control the game, if that makes sense.
For sure, for sure. I agree with you 100%. I think that, if you look at teams in college and in the NBA, the teams where the best player is not the point guard, they still good teams, but the teams where the best player and the point guard is the same person, those teams have a whole different gear that they can get to. They
Hmm.
have a whole different point of attack, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, who are some if I'm a kid trying to come into your program, or if I'm I'm an athlete in college trying to make it to the next level, who are some PGs that you would recommend watching, and what should we be watching them for?
Man, there's so many good PGs. As far as going to college, well, first off, I would tell a kid, what type of system are you going into to get to
That's
college? Like, what type of system do they run? What are you going for? What did the coach like about you? What do
Mhm.
you do well? Those are questions that need answered because you can play point guard, but it can be certain things that separate you from the rest. Like, for example, like Steph Curry is a different point guard from Drew Holiday.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? Drew Holiday's a different point guard from Chris Paul. Like, you can play the point guard position and still manage the game, but your strengths can be different from someone else's strength.
For
Chris
sure.
Paul is different from Trey Young. Like, the list goes on. So, first, I would ask the kid if he's getting ready to go to college, I would ask him, like, what type of system are you going to? Are you
Mhm.
going to the University of Houston where they guard 94 feet and the point guard is the pit bull
Yeah.
that starts the defense? The point guard is the person that sets the offense. Are you going to Creighton where their point guard is more of a facilitator and a shooter, right? You're
Right.
going to Creighton where they run so many different sets to get their point guards in different actions. Or you going to Kansas where their point guard is a traditional point guard and they just run stuff to get
For
their
sure.
their scorers open. Like what type of system are you going to? And I think that would dictate a lot of advice I would give him. But to just give a general point guard some advice, you can never go wrong with watching like Chris Paul, watching Halliburton. I think Halliburton honestly is one of the better point guards that we have seen in the in the mid.
Definitely. I think, and you know what's crazy is, I'm not gonna say. So the crazy thing is, I gained a newfound respect for Halliburton in this last playoff run, and it wasn't because they made it to the finals. It was more so because of how he willed them to the finals in a lot of the situations. You know what I mean? Like his ability to set his guys up is like second to none. Like I don't think that, people really pay attention to the fact that a lot of times he's not looking for the flashy plays. He just advance something as simple as advance the ball, bro. You
Yeah,
know what
for
I mean?
sure,
Something as simple
for
as throw the
sure,
ball up the court. You know what I mean?
for sure.
I'm not looking to get a flashy dime or something in the box score every time down the floor. I'm just
I'm
making the
just trying
right
to
plays,
move.
making the right
Yeah,
decision. Exactly.
but I think that goes into the evolution of basketball. I think if you're not moving with pace now, especially like if you don't have a point guard that really pushes that tempo and
Hmm.
knows when to slow it down, when to push it, I think you're at a disadvantage. The best time to push the basketball, and I'm teaching my ninth graders this now, is after a bucket. Like that's or after a dunk, because those are times when teams are celebrating. They like to do
They
their
jogging
celebration.
back,
Man, get
they
the ball
slapping,
out the
they
net.
high fiving.
Hey, get the ball out the net and move it up the sideline. That's what I'm teaching them. Get the ball out the net, especially on made buckets. Now, missed bucket, okay, let's slow it down. Let's get something good. Made bucket,
Hmm.
I'm talking about suit. I want you to jump up there, take it out the net, and
Yeah,
advance it. Like I
yeah,
want the ball gone. I
for
want it
sure.
down the court because those are the layers that you will get. And if you look at the Pacers offense in the playoff, that's what they were getting. Like oftentimes a team would dunk. And before he's even coming down from the dunk, the ball is at
They
half
inbounded the
court
ball
going,
already.
they
Yeah,
going the other way.
yeah.
So I think that's just the evolution of basketball. But going back to Halliburton, I think Halliburton is the beneficiary of two things. For one, he put a lot of work to get where he is, and it pays out. You can tell you can tell that he put in a lot of work. So I think he's a beneficiary of a lot of hours and reps in the gym. And also, I think he's the beneficiary of a good coach and a good system that fits him. Right? I think
For
that
sure.
that offense is specifically designed for him to excel with being the playmaker he is. As you can see with the way their offense is set up, he's always operating in so much space. And the floor is so spaced out because Miles Turner can shoot it. Siakam can shoot it.
Definitely.
All the guards can shoot it. So it's so spaced out and he's always getting downhill and he's able to create and make plays for others. So I think he benefits from a good system as well.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think, speaking of, kind of last topic I want to get into a little bit before, we start to wrap the episode up. In college and especially in the NBA, it's important for teams to have an identity, right? So yeah, yes, Halliburton is a product of the people around him as well, but I think it's because the Pacers landed on an identity of who they wanted to be and kind of made adjustments accordingly as far as the players they went and recruited. Obviously, it's easier in the NBA and in college because you know in college you can go and scout and recruit people to come to your school that fit your play style. Same thing in the NBA, you can move pieces around to get players that fit your play style and things like that. At your level in high school, would you say that having a team identity is important, or do you think that the talent pool dictates what your identity can be?
I think it can be a little bit of both.
Uh-huh.
I think the better team you have, of course, the better they can be. But the intangibles can always be your identity
For
as
sure.
far as playing hard, as far as like if you're going to play a well coached team and a good coach, like they're gonna do three things. They're gonna play hard, they're gonna defend, they're gonna communicate. Like those are intangibles that's your identity. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? and it'll make it hard on any team, regardless of talent. Because talent does win games. It doesn't win the
Definitely.
championship, but it does win games. You have to have talent to win. So I just feel like your identity doesn't always have to be offense. You might not have the
Mm-hmm.
personnel to play offense. You might not have the
Yep.
personnel to play the defense that you want to play. But you can always do the intangibles as far as play hard, get on the floor for loose balls, communicate, effort. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
For
You can
sure.
always have an identity for the intangibles.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is the easiest identity to have is the play hard one.
Is to play
You know what
hard.
I mean?
So it basically goes back to what we were saying. The easiest identity to have is a good culture.
For sure.
Like
For
if
sure.
you're going into a culture where they like they all play hard, man, that speaks for itself. If I'm
Yeah.
going to if I'm a freshman going to a team in my first practice, every senior is hitting the ground, every senior is taking charges, every senior is leading, communicating, and
Yeah.
talking. Naturally, I'm going to do the same thing
For sure.
because it's the standard. Look what they doing. I
Mm-hmm.
have to do it. You know what I mean? So it goes back to having a culture, having a good culture. I think that means a lot, especially to a good team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, like I said, that kind of thing also applies to any form of leadership. As I said before, it's important that everybody on the boat understands where we're rowing to. Because if everybody get in the boat and we all rowing to a different destination, we might not ever get there. But if everybody has their eyes set on the same destination and buys into the same culture and the same principles and the same values, you know what I mean? And everybody holds each other accountable, and everybody is disciplined enough to, and everybody respects each other and things like that, then like we said the other day in our last episode, success becomes a byproduct of things like that. If you can
For
get up
sure.
every day, or if you go and chase your why every single day and everybody holds everybody accountable and the people who are leading the pack have that servant mentality where they can turn around and not just think me, but what do y'all need to be successful? What do you need from me to make this happen?
Yep. 100% right. And one thing I'm teaching my players now, and it's a saying for a specific situation, but it speaks volumes to the mentality of the team. I always tell my team, pass up a good shot or a great shot, right? And it sounds like just a specific situation where someone catches the ball and someone else is open to pass it. Yeah, that's true. But it speaks to a selfless mentality,
For sure.
right? I want my team to care so much about winning that they don't care about the individual stuff that come with it. Like everybody wants to score. Like that's the
Most
first
definitely.
thing that people say. Hey, what you want to do? I want to score points. Yeah, that's the first thing. Who is gonna make that extra pass? Who is gonna get that rebound? Who is gonna do things like that? I want my team to have a mentality to where I don't care who scores. I just want to win. Right? I want my team to be winners at the end of the day.
Definitely.
Like I want them to have a winner mentality. So it's a saying that some people say for a specific situation, but I think that speaks to a mentality of a team, and that's something I'm instilling for my players from day one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I'm excited to see, especially with this new batch of players that you got coming in this year. I'm excited to see, the kind of morals and values you can put into these guys. So, before we wrap it up and we close it out, is there any last words that you want to give to the people?
Yeah, man, just keep working, no matter what field you're in, athlete, middle school, high school, college, keep working on your craft, watch film, get better, keep training, keep doing stuff that's gonna help you excel, keep being positive, keep positive people around you, and just keep working because anything is possible, but you have to put the work in, right? You have to focus on the journey, focus on the day by day grind that comes with it, because like we said in the last episode, success costs something. It doesn't cost any money, but it costs a whole lot of sacrifice, a whole lot of discipline, and a whole lot of perseverance. So whatever you're going through, keep pushing, keep working, and the best is yet to come.
Most definitely. I think before we get ready to sign off, my last words to everybody out there would probably be in order to be a really, really good leader, you have to learn how to be a really, really good follower first. You know what I mean? You have to operate with a servant mentality. You have to put others before yourself. Now, again, that goes to more than just basketball. Yes, I'm talking to you aspiring point guards or you current point guards, you know what I mean? But I'm also talking to everybody else out there who aspires to something bigger than themselves. If you say you want to lead a team to victory, any kind of team, whether it be basketball, sports in general, or in the community, or at work, anything like that. In order for your team to succeed, you have to be a good leader. In order for you to be a good leader, you have to have that servant mentality. You know what I mean? You have to lead by example. You know what I mean? It's like you said earlier. You want to get up every day and be the change that you want to see every single day. Good things happen every day. Bad things happen every day. You choose what you want to focus on. You know what I mean? Every day I wake up, I choose to be 1% better than I was yesterday. And hopefully that if you guys that are listening to this podcast, if we can spark that in somebody else, then I think we've done our job. What you say, D West?
I think so too. Man, so if you haven't checked out the last episode, make sure you check it out. Make sure you like this episode, subscribe to us. We will be dropping content on Monday to Friday, man. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, sir. We out.
We out.